The sky over Montana turned strange that day, not just cloudy but wrong somehow. John Miller looked up from his backyard and felt his heart race. After 20 years in the Air Force, he knew every type of aircraft, but this was something else. "Lisa, you might want to see this," he called to his wife. Dr. Lisa Green stepped outside, coffee mug in hand. The moment she looked up, she dropped the mug. It shattered on the patio, but neither of them noticed. A ship hung in the sky, not like the movies where they were as big as cities. This one was maybe the size of a large airplane, but it gleamed with a metal no human had ever made. It hovered silently, breaking every law of physics Lisa had studied in her career. "Call it in," she whispered. Within hours, the area swarmed with military and science teams. John, as the highest-ranking officer nearby, took charge of security. Lisa joined the science team because of her background in biology. The ship landed in a clear field. No one approached it until a door opened on its side. The crowd of humans went silent. The being that stepped out walked on two legs but looked nothing like a human. It had blue-gray skin that seemed to shimmer. Its head was larger at the top, with 4 eyes spaced around it, giving it vision in all directions. It raised 4-fingered hands in what seemed like a peaceful gesture. "We come as friends," it said in perfect English. The voice seemed to come from a small device on its chest. "I am Ambassador Zixalon of the Tellurian species and representative of the Galactic Confederation." No one spoke for several seconds. Then John stepped forward. "I'm Captain John Miller, United States Air Force. Welcome to Earth." The alien named Zixalon seemed to study him. "Your species shows remarkable calm at first contact. This is a good sign." Over the next few days, more ships arrived, not to attack, but to talk. The aliens set up a temporary base where world leaders could meet with them. Lisa was chosen to join the science team because of her quick thinking and calm approach. "The Galactic Confederation includes 7 advanced species," Zixalon explained during one meeting. "We have been watching your world for some time. You have reached a level of technology that qualifies you to join us." "What does joining mean for Earth?" John asked. He had been assigned as security for the diplomatic team. "Trade, technology, protection," the alien said. "The galaxy can be dangerous. Small planets are safer together." Lisa noticed something in the way the aliens looked at humans. It wasn't fear or respect. It reminded her of how scientists look at lab rats. Interesting specimens, but not equals. When the aliens showed videos of their worlds, humans were amazed. Cities that floated in the sky, ships that traveled between stars in days instead of years, medicine that could cure almost any disease. "We can help you advance by centuries," Zixalon said. "In return, we ask for some of your planet's resources and the opportunity to study your unique biology." World leaders didn't take long to agree. The benefits seemed too good to pass up. Late one night, Lisa found John staring at the alien ships from their hotel window. "Something feels off," he said. "They're too helpful, too friendly." Lisa nodded. "During the medical exchange today, I saw one of their doctors take notes about our muscle density and endurance. He seemed surprised, maybe concerned. What would surprise a species that crosses galaxies? "I don't know," Lisa said, "but they classified humans as non-predatory intelligent omnivores in their system. When I mentioned that humans evolved as hunters, they see 6 months after Earth joined the Confederation, Staff Sergeant Alan Carter received strange new orders. He was to report to the newly built Confederation base outside of Phoenix, Arizona. No reason was given. The base looked like nothing built on Earth. Curved walls rose high into the sky, made of materials that seemed to shift color with the sunlight. Alan felt small as he walked through the massive front gates. Inside, he was surprised to find 20 other humans from different military branches around the world. Among them was Private First Class Samantha Wells, a Marine with a reputation for surviving the toughest training programs. "Any idea why we're here?" she asked Alan as they waited in a large room. "None. My commander just said it was a standard procedure for new member species." A tall, insect-like alien entered the room. It had 4 arms and moved with surprising grace despite its hard outer shell. "I am Combat Assessment Officer Krill," it said through a translator device. "The Confederation requires all new member species to undergo combat evaluation. This determines your place in our defense forces." The humans exchanged looks. No one had mentioned this requirement before. "The tests will begin tomorrow," Krill continued. "Rest well." That night, Alan overheard 2 alien officers talking outside his quarters. "These humans will perform poorly," one said. "Their homeworld has high gravity, but they evolved inefficiently. Their bodies waste energy. Look how much they must eat." "True," the other replied. "And they require too much sleep. 8 hours lost each day. We will assign them to support roles." Alan frowned but said nothing. The next morning, the tests began. First came the endurance trials. The humans ran alongside members of other species on tracks designed to simulate different planetary conditions. To the aliens' surprise, humans performed well in almost all environments. "They just keep going," Krill muttered to his assistant. The strength test showed humans weren't the strongest species, but they were far from the weakest. What shocked the aliens most was human recovery time between exercises. "Their muscles adapt quickly," a medical officer noted, "and their cooling system, this sweating, is surprisingly effective." By the 3rd day, the alien observers seemed concerned. The combat simulations revealed something they hadn't expected. Humans didn't follow predictable patterns. When faced with the same threat multiple times, they tried different approaches each time. Alan and Samantha were paired for the final test, a survival course against a simulated predator species. The aliens expected them to hide or run. Instead, Alan and Samantha worked together to set a trap. When the creature chased them, they led it into a narrow pass, then caused a small rock slide to trap it. While it struggled, they circled behind and completed the mission objective. "Did you see that?" one alien observer said to another. "They turned from prey to predator in moments." "It must be a fluke," the other replied. "Their biology is inefficient. Look at their limbs, their eyes, their teeth. Nothing about them suggests an apex predator." Dr. Peter Jackson, a human xenobiologist assigned to observe the tests, noticed how the aliens reacted. During meals, humans were given separate tables. In training, they were often given outdated equipment. The pattern was clear. The Confederation saw humans as lesser beings. After the final assessments, Krill gathered the humans. "Your results were unexpected," he said carefully. "We will need to review the data more carefully before making assignments." Later, Peter found Alan and Samantha in the recreation area. "They're disturbed by your performance," he told them quietly. "I've seen the preliminary reports. They've classified human results as statistical anomalies and are questioning the test design." "Why?" Samantha asked. "We didn't even do our best," Peter smiled slightly. "That's what worries them. I don't think the Confederation understands what humans really are." "And what are we?" Alan asked. "Something they've never encountered before," Peter replied. "And they're beginning to realize it." Outside the base, more ships arrived daily, bringing alien officials curious about these strange new creatures called humans, who didn't fit neatly into their understanding of biology or behavior. The assessment had raised questions no one in the Confederation had thought to ask before, meant to dismiss it. John watched another ship land. "They don't see us as a threat. Maybe that's good. Or maybe they're making a mistake," Lisa whispered. 3 months later, Earth officially joined the Galactic Confederation. Humans celebrated worldwide. The age of isolation was over. The stars were now open to humanity, but in private conversations among the aliens, humans were classified as primitive, inefficient, and suitable for basic labor roles. They believed they had found just another harmless species to bring under their control. They were wrong. Proxima Station hung in space like a giant metal wheel. It was a busy trading hub where species from across the galaxy came to exchange goods. Humans had only been allowed to work there for 3 months. Nick Rivera led a small mining crew that helped repair the outer sections of the station. They weren't given important jobs. Most aliens still treated humans as if they were weak and simple. Another day fixing things no one else wants to fix, Olivia Martinez said as she checked her tool belt. She was the team's engineer and Nick's second in command. At least we're in space, Nick replied with a smile. My grandfather never even flew on an airplane. Their shift had just started when the alarms went off. Red lights flashed all through the station. Emergency alert, said a calm voice over the speakers. Terrorist attack in progress. All personnel evacuate immediately. Nick and his team of 5 humans looked at each other. They had been trained for this. The escape pods were just 2 sections away. As they moved through the corridors, they passed aliens running in panic. Smoke filled some areas where explosions had damaged the station. The Void Claws, one alien told them as it rushed past. They've taken the lower levels. The Void Claws were a terrorist group that hated the Confederation. They attacked civilians to spread fear. Just before they reached the escape pods, Nick's team heard something above the alarm, crying. It was coming from a side passage that led toward the damaged sections. There are children down there, said Olivia, listening carefully. Nick checked his station map. That's the school area for the Malorian species. Their children must be trapped. The evacuation order says to leave immediately, reminded Steve, another crew member. They all looked at each other. No one had to say what they were thinking. We can't leave kids behind, Nick said finally. Not when we might be able to help. The team changed direction, moving deeper into the station instead of escaping. The smoke got thicker. Parts of the ceiling had fallen down. They had to climb over broken pieces of the station. Our environment suits will give us about 30 minutes of protection from the smoke, Olivia said, checking their gear. They found the school area partly collapsed. Inside were 15 small alien children. They looked like tiny blue versions of their parents with large eyes and 4 arms. They huddled together in fear. We're here to help, Nick said, trying to appear friendly. One of the children spoke in broken human language. Bad ones came. Teacher went to stop them. Not come back. We'll get you out, Nick promised. Getting back to the escape pods wouldn't be easy. The path they had used was now blocked by fallen debris. They would have to go through areas where the terrorists might be. We need weapons, said George, the team's security specialist. We have these, Nick replied, holding up his mining tools. Better than nothing. They moved carefully through the damaged station, each adult carrying 1 child while guiding others. When they heard voices ahead, they ducked into side rooms. When they found blocked passages, they used their tools to make new paths. Near the central hub, they encountered 2 Void Claw terrorists. The aliens were tall with pale skin and were carrying energy weapons. They hadn't seen the humans yet. Nick signaled his team to stay back with the children. Then he and Olivia moved forward quietly, carrying heavy repair tools. Years of working in dangerous mines had taught them how to move silently despite their size. The terrorists never saw them coming. In seconds, both were unconscious on the floor. Tie them up, Nick ordered, and take their weapons. The children watched with wide eyes as the humans efficiently secured the terrorists. You hunt like Krelthar beasts, one child said with something like awe in its voice. Dr. Krelthax did not want this assignment. As one of the Confederation's top researchers, he felt it was beneath him to study such a primitive species. But, after the Proxima Station incident, the Science Council had insisted. Something is not right about these humans, the council head had told him. Find out what makes them different. The research facility orbited Earth like a small moon. Krelthax, a tall alien with pale green skin and 4 eyes, watched as his latest test subject entered the lab. Karen Foster was a human diplomat who had agreed to help with the research to improve relations. Good morning, Doctor, she said with a smile. What are we studying today? Your species' response to different environments, he replied coldly. Karen noticed how the alien scientists watched her, not with respect but with growing concern. Over the past weeks, she had undergone many tests: strength, endurance, pain tolerance, problem-solving. Each time the aliens seemed more disturbed by the results. Today they put her in a chamber that could change temperature rapidly. They started with extreme heat. Please inform us when it becomes unbearable, Krelthax said through the speaker. Karen sat calmly as the temperature rose past 100 degrees Fahrenheit. She began to sweat but showed no distress. The aliens watched in fascination as her body cooled itself. Most species cannot function above their normal body temperature, one researcher noted. Yet she continues to perform cognitive tests without decline. When they switched to cold, Karen shivered but maintained her focus. Later, Krelthax reviewed the data with his team. They can survive in almost any environment on any world in the Confederation, he said. Their bodies adapt rapidly, and their healing abilities. He displayed images of human cells regenerating after injury. No other intelligent species heals like this, another scientist added. They recover from injuries that would permanently disable most beings. In his private lab, Krelthax studied human history. What he found disturbed him deeply. He called Karen to discuss his findings. Your species evolved as pursuit predators, he said, watching her reaction. Karen nodded. Yes, early humans would chase animals until they collapsed from exhaustion. We call it persistence hunting. This is unusual. Most intelligent species evolved from either ambush predators or prey animals. None have your endurance or tracking abilities. Karen smiled slightly. Is that why you've been studying us so carefully? You're worried about our predator history? The concept is concerning, Krelthax admitted. A species that evolved to never give up, to pursue prey relentlessly over great distances. Such behavior patterns remain in your psychology, even if you no longer hunt this way. Karen had been noticing things too. How alien diplomats became nervous when humans entered rooms. How security was always higher around human delegations. How information about military matters was carefully filtered before reaching human representatives. What's the real purpose of this research, Doctor? She asked directly. Krelthax hesitated. The Science Council wants to understand human capabilities more completely. Your performance in the combat assessments was unexpected. Then the Proxima Station incident raised further questions. Karen stood up and walked to the window overlooking Earth. You're afraid of us, she said simply. You thought we were harmless, but now you're not sure. Fear is an emotional response, Krelthax replied stiffly. We are conducting scientific research. That night, Karen contacted her superiors on Earth. Their research has taken a concerning turn. They're specifically studying our predatory characteristics and adaptability. Days later, Krelthax presented his preliminary findings to the Science Council. The chamber went silent as the data appeared on large screens. In conclusion, he said, humans possess a combination of traits found in no other species. Their endurance exceeds all known limits. Their adaptability to environments is unprecedented. Their problem-solving under stress shows patterns consistent with apex predator behavior. Are they dangerous? Asked a council member. Krelthax thought carefully before answering. They are not aggressive without cause, but if threatened, they may be the most efficient predators the galaxy has ever known, and they are still evolving. The council chamber erupted in worried conversation. No one had expected this outcome when they invited humans to join the Confederation. Now they weren't sure what to do about it. 3 hours later, when Confederation security forces finally boarded the station, they expected to find only bodies. Instead, they found Nick's team guarding a group of rescued children and 2 captured terrorists. How did you survive? Asked the Confederation commander. The terrorists released radiation gas in this section. We felt sick, Nick admitted, but we kept moving. The medical officer scanned the humans with shock. This level of radiation would kill most species instantly. Word of what happened at Proxima Station spread quickly through the Confederation. For the first time, aliens began to look at humans differently, with caution, respect, and just a hint of fear. The war began without warning. The Scourge, a hive mind species from another galaxy, attacked the outer colonies of the Confederation. Their ships were unlike anything seen before, black, twisted shapes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The first 3 battles ended in total defeat for the Confederation forces. Their carefully planned battle formations fell apart against the chaotic attacks of the Scourge. Thousands died. Planets were lost. In a desperate meeting, the High Command of the Confederation discussed their options. "We have no choice," said Admiral Vextel, his gray scales reflecting the dim light. "We must deploy the humans." Others in the room shifted uncomfortably. Since joining the Confederation, humans had been kept away from major military operations. Their combat assessment results had worried many leaders. "Are we certain this is wise?" asked another commander. "If they perform well, it may be difficult to control them afterward." "If there is no afterward, it will not matter," Vextel replied grimly. Colonel Frank Turner received his orders with a calm expression that hid his excitement. After months of being given only minor defensive positions, his battalion of human soldiers would finally see real combat. "We deploy to New Haven Colony in 6 hours," he told his officers. "The Scourge have surrounded the main settlement. Our job is to break their siege and evacuate the civilians." When the human ships arrived at New Haven, they found a desperate situation. The colony was days away from running out of food and water. Scourge forces surrounded it completely. "Standard Confederation tactics won't work here," Frank told his team. "We fight our way." Instead of a direct assault, Frank divided his forces into small teams. They attacked at night, striking quickly, and then disappearing into the forests and mountains around the colony. They set traps. They created distractions. They targeted the Scourge's supply lines rather than their main forces. The Scourge had never faced such tactics. They were used to enemies who followed rules and patterns. The humans seemed to follow no pattern at all. After 5 days of constant harassment, the Scourge forces began to break apart. Confused and low on supplies, they pulled back from several areas. Frank saw his chance. "All units converge on the North Ridge. We punch through now," he ordered. The human forces struck like a hammer, creating a corridor to the colony. Within hours, they began evacuating civilians. Meanwhile, in another part of the galaxy, Commander Diane Powell faced a different challenge. The Scourge fleet had trapped a major Confederation battle group in the Centauri system. Without help, they would be destroyed. Diane commanded a small group of human ships. They were faster but less heavily armed than standard Confederation vessels. "We can't match their firepower," she told her captains, "so we won't try. Our advantage is maneuverability and unpredictability." Her plan shocked the Confederation officers. Instead of attacking as a group, each human ship would operate independently, choosing its own targets and attack patterns. They would communicate using a code that changed every hour. "This is not how fleet battles are conducted," protested the Confederation admiral. "There must be order and coordination." "With respect, sir, that's exactly what the Scourge expects," Diane replied. "We'll give them chaos instead." When the battle began, the Scourge ships moved to surround the human vessels. But the humans refused to be surrounded. They darted in and out, striking weak points, then retreating before counterattacks could land. They used nearby asteroids for cover. They executed maneuvers that seemed suicidal until they succeeded. 3 hours later, the Scourge fleet scattered in confusion. The path was clear for the trapped Confederation ships to escape. News of the 2 victories spread quickly. For the first time since the war began, the Confederation had hope. In his private quarters, High Commander Vextel reviewed the battle reports with growing concern. 6 months into the war with the Scourge, the Confederation's ruling council gathered, in secret. Their meeting place was deep beneath the surface of a moon far from any populated world. No humans were invited. "We must discuss the human question," said Council Leader Zurvan, his voice echoing in the large stone chamber. "Their military contributions have been significant." "Significant?" asked another member. "They have won every battle we've assigned them. The Scourge retreat when they learn humans will be fighting." Holograms appeared in the center of the room. They showed human soldiers continuing to fight despite injuries, operating for days without sleep, and adapting tactics mid-battle in ways that surprised both allies and enemies. "What concerns us is what happens after the war," said Zurvan. Humans were brought into the Confederation because we believed them to be a minor, non-threatening species. We were wrong. The Council spent hours debating various options. Some suggested genetic modifications to tame human aggression. Others proposed strict limits on human activities after the war ended. A few even mentioned more extreme measures. We cannot allow a predator species this efficient to have free access to Confederation resources and technology, one member argued. The risk is too great. They did not know that their secret meeting had been recorded. A small cleaning drone with modified programming captured every word and transmitted it to a secure location. Ambassador Jack Harris received the recording the next day. As Earth's main representative to the Confederation, he had suspected for some time that humans were not fully trusted by the alien leadership. They're afraid of us, he told his staff after reviewing the recording. Not because of what we've done, but because of what they think we might do. Can you blame them? Asked his assistant. Look at our history, war, conquest. Humans have always been fighters. Jack nodded. But we're more than that. They see the predator but miss everything else. The ambassador faced a difficult choice. Should humanity submit to whatever restrictions the Confederation planned, or should they assert their independence? Neither path was safe. While the politicians debated, human soldiers like Sergeant Laura Chen noticed disturbing changes in their assignments. Human units were being separated from other species and given the most dangerous missions. Laura's squad had been fighting non-stop for 3 weeks. They had been dropped onto a Scourge-occupied moon with orders to destroy a communications center. No backup, no extraction plan. They're trying to get us killed, said one of her soldiers as they took shelter in a ruined building. Maybe, Laura replied. Or they're sending us because they know we'll succeed where others would fail. Her squad completed their mission. Then they walked 80 miles through enemy territory to reach an evacuation point they had found on their own. When they returned to base, the Confederation officers seemed surprised to see them alive. Laura reported directly to the Human Command Center afterward. Something's wrong, she told her superior officer. They're using us, but they're also isolating us. The Raxan troops used to train with us. Now they won't even eat in the same room. Similar reports came in from human units across the front. The trust between humans and the Confederation was breaking down, just when unity was most needed. Ambassador Harris requested an emergency meeting with the ruling council. It took 3 days before they agreed to see him. I understand your concerns about humanity, he said, standing tall before the alien leaders. But we deserve honesty. If you see us as a threat, say so openly. If you plan to restrict us after the war, tell us now. The council members looked at each other in surprise. How had he learned of their discussions? Ambassador Harris, said Zurvan carefully, there seem to be some misunderstandings. The Confederation values human contributions, but you don't value humans, Jack replied. You value what we can do for you in this war, and you fear what we might become afterward. As the diplomatic tensions grew, news arrived that changed everything. The Scourge had launched a massive attack on a previously unknown target. Earth was under siege. The humans achieved in days what our best commanders could not achieve in weeks, he told his closest advisor. Their combat effectiveness exceeds our most extreme projections. Should we be concerned? The advisor asked. Vextel stared at the images of human soldiers and ship captains. They display predatorial efficiency beyond acceptable parameters, he said quietly. Yes, we should be very concerned. But for now, the Confederation needed its most efficient predators. The war was far from over. The news about Earth spread quickly. The Scourge had launched their largest attack yet against humanity's home planet. Millions of lives were at risk. Ambassador Jack Harris rushed to the Confederation High Command Center to request immediate assistance. He found the alien leaders already in an emergency meeting. We must send reinforcements to Earth, he demanded, interrupting their discussion. Admiral Vextel looked at him with all 4 of his eyes. The situation is complicated, Ambassador. We have limited resources. Many worlds need protection. Jack saw through the excuses immediately. You're hesitating on purpose. You see this as an opportunity to solve your human problem. The aliens shifted uncomfortably but did not deny it. Finally, one spoke the truth. If the Scourge reduces human numbers and infrastructure, you will be less of a threat after the war, said a senior commander. It is regrettable but convenient. Jack left without another word. Within hours, he sent messages to all human forces scattered across Confederation space. One simple command: come home. General William Cooper received the message while planning a minor defensive operation. He immediately changed course, gathering every human ship and soldier he could contact. His superiors demanded explanations. "Earth is under attack," was his only response. "We're going home." The Confederation expected Earth to fall quickly. They were wrong. Earth's defenses were stronger than anyone knew. Humans had been preparing for war since they first learned about alien life. They had built hidden fleets and weapons using both their own technology and what they had learned from the Confederation. When General Cooper arrived with the returning human forces, he found Earth bloodied but unbroken. The Scourge surrounded the planet but could not break through its defenses. "They expected an easy victory," said Earth Defense Command. "They don't understand who they're fighting." Cooper met with Earth's military leaders to form a plan. They would not just defend, they would counterattack. "The Scourge think like hive insects," Cooper explained. "Their queen controls everything. Cut off the head and the body dies." No one knew where the Scourge queen was located, but humans were good at hunting. Cooper selected his best ships and crews. They would push deep into Scourge territory, tracking communication patterns to find the central command. It was a mission the Confederation would have considered impossible. "We don't need to sleep much," Cooper told his captains. "We can fight. While injured, we adapt quickly. All the things the Confederation fears about us are exactly what will help us win." The human fleet moved like shadows through enemy space. They fought when necessary and hid when possible. They gathered information from captured Scourge ships. Every clue brought them closer to their target. After 2 weeks of hunting, they found what they were looking for: a massive Scourge station hidden in the dust clouds of a dying star. Inside was the Queen who controlled the entire invasion. "This is a one-way mission," Cooper told his volunteers. "We may not come back." No one hesitated. The strike team launched in small, fast ships designed to slip past the station's defenses. The battle was fierce. Human soldiers fought their way through the station level by level. They continued despite injuries that would have stopped most species. They adapted their tactics when surprises arose. They showed what the Confederation had called pathological determination. Sergeant Laura Chen led the final assault on the Queen's chamber. Her team had been fighting for 20 hours straight. They were exhausted and wounded, but they didn't stop. "Humans don't give up," she 3 months after the defeat of the Scourge Queen. Representatives from all Confederation species gathered on a neutral space station. The war was over. The time for a new peace had come. Ambassador Maria Rodriguez, who replaced Jack Harris after he retired, walked into the grand meeting hall with confidence. Unlike before when humans were seated at the back as junior members, now she took a place at the main table. The room grew quiet as Council Leader Zurvan opened the meeting. "We gather to establish a new treaty for our shared future," he said. "Much has changed since we last met in peace." Maria nodded. Everything had indeed changed. Humans had proven themselves not just as fighters, but as saviors of the Confederation. The defeat of the Scourge Queen had ended the war almost overnight. "The human delegation has prepared a proposal," Maria said, standing to address the council. "We wish to remain part of the Confederation, but as true equals. No more secrets, no more plans to control or limit us." The alien representatives shifted uncomfortably. Everyone knew about the ruling council's secret meeting and their plans for humanity after the war. "Your species has demonstrated remarkable capabilities," Zurvan said carefully. "Some members have expressed concerns about having such an efficient predator species as equals in our peaceful coalition." Maria smiled. "We understand your fear, but you've misunderstood what makes humans dangerous. It's not our strength or endurance or adaptability. It's our choice." She displayed images on the large screens around the room. Humans rescuing alien children during the Proxima Station attack. Human doctors treating wounded Confederation soldiers. Human ships delivering supplies to devastated worlds. We evolved as predators, yes, we can hunt, fight, and kill more efficiently than most species, but we choose when to use those abilities and when to set them aside. That moral choice is our true evolutionary advantage. The debate lasted for days. Some species wanted restrictions on human activities. Others argued that humans had earned their place as full members. Through it all, Maria remained firm on one point. Humanity would accept nothing less than equality. In the end, a new treaty was signed. The Confederation would continue, but with major changes. Each species would maintain its independence while contributing to the common good. Humans would share their unique defensive capabilities but remained free to develop in their own way. As the diplomats worked out details, Captain Daniel White began a new experiment. He created the first mixed-species military unit, with members from 5 different worlds training and working together. At first, the aliens were nervous about serving alongside humans. They had seen what humans could do in combat. "We're not here to frighten you," Daniel told them during their first meeting. "We're here to protect you, to fight alongside you, and to learn from you." Slowly, trust began to grow. The aliens saw that humans could control their predatory instincts. They used their tracking abilities to find lost hikers, not just enemy soldiers. They used their endurance to help rebuild damaged worlds, not just to pursue targets. 1 year after the war ended, the Confederation Science Council updated their official classification of humans. The new entry read, "Species, human status, the galaxy's most efficient predator and its most dedicated protector." Note: the human capacity for violence is matched only by their capacity for compassion. They have evolved beyond mere biological imperatives to make conscious moral choices about when and how to use their predatory capabilities. In a small ceremony on Earth, Ambassador Rodriguez placed the new classification in the Museum of First Contact. Next to it stood a simple plaque with words that summed up humanity's journey among the stars. They feared what we could do. Now, they value what we choose to do. Visitors from across the galaxy came to see this exhibit. Many still watched humans carefully, with a mix of respect and caution. But none could deny the truth. The most dangerous predator had become the most important ally. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity had found its place among the stars not by hiding its nature, but by showing it could be more than just an efficient hunter, told a dying teammate. "It's not in our nature." When they finally reached the Queen, the aliens watched in horror as the injured humans kept coming, despite all defenses. Nothing could stop them. The death of the Queen sent shockwaves through the entire Scourge force. Ships around Earth suddenly stopped fighting and began to retreat in confusion. The Confederation leaders watched these events with mixed emotions: relief that the Scourge were being defeated, fear at what this revealed about human capabilities. "They've disguised their true nature behind technology and civilization," one council member said quietly. "But now we see them clearly, the galaxy's most efficient predators."